Hello everyone, this is R.S. Miller at the endtimenews.org and today is March 20th, 2014. This is a Ukraine Crisis Fast Track report. Russian troops forcefully seize 3 Ukrainian warships. Today the Russian military assaulted and seized 3 Ukrainian naval vessels. There were reports of shots being fired along with the use of at least 1 stun grenade, although there were no reports of injuries. One of the vessels which was assaulted took place in or near the Sevastopol area, while the other 2 incident locations were not mentioned. This is the latest aggression by Moscow, which comes on the heels of the forceful takeover of 2 Ukraine military bases in Crimea, in which 1 Ukrainian soldier was killed. Although the annexation of Crimea into Russia appears to be complete for all practical purposes, the ultimate goal of the Russian government may in fact be the takeover of other parts of the Ukraine as well. The Ukrainian ambassador to the United Nations had expressed concerns that Russia may be intending a further military incursion into Ukraine territory. He is quoted as saying, "There are indications that Russia is on its way to unleash a full-blown military intervention in Ukraine's east and south." Also today, President Obama issued a statement on Ukraine in which he expressed his grave concerns that Russia has positioned its military in a way that could lead to further incursions into southern and eastern Ukraine. President Obama said, "Over the last several days, we've continued to be deeply concerned by events in Ukraine. We've seen an illegal referendum in Ukraine, an illegitimate move by the Russians to annex Crimea, and dangerous risk of escalation, including threats to Ukrainian personnel in Crimea and threats to southern and eastern Ukraine as well. These are all choices that the Russian government has made, choices that have been rejected by the international community, as well as the government of Ukraine. And because of these choices, the United States is today moving, as we said we would, to impose additional cost on Russia. Based on the executive order that I signed today," he said, "in response to Russia's initial intervention in Ukraine, we are imposing sanctions on more senior officials of the Russian government. In addition, we are today sanctioning a number of other individuals with substantial resources and influence who provide material support to the Russian leadership, as well as a bank that provides material support to these individuals." He goes on to say, "Now we are taking these steps as part of our response to what Russia has already done in Crimea. At the same time, the world is watching with grave concern as Russia has positioned its military in a way that could lead to further incursion into southern and eastern Ukraine. For this reason, we have been working closely with our European partners to develop more severe actions that could be taken if Russia continues to escalate the situation." Meanwhile, the US and NATO plan to go ahead with military exercises in the Ukraine. The drill is called Rapid Trident and is said to be a normal part of US-European Command's Joint Training Exercise program. Rapid Trident supports interoperability among Ukraine, the United States, NATO, and Partnership for Peace member nations. The exercise helps prepare participants to operate successfully in a joint, multinational, integrated environment with host nation support for civil and governmental agencies. Friends, the Ukraine crisis could erupt into a war at any time between Russia, Ukraine, NATO, and its allies, which also includes the US. Although President Obama seems intent on using sanctions as opposed to any sort of military option, in the end, he may have little choice in the matter. Both World War I and World War II started in that general area of Europe, and the current crisis appears to be very much similar to the run-up to both of those wars. However, I believe that the Battle of Armageddon will most certainly take place in the Middle East, but that doesn't eliminate the possibility of a thermonuclear exchange over this current crisis or any other crisis. Even if there is a nuclear exchange, it will likely be limited, allowing time for cooler heads to prevail. If in fact nuclear war does take place between Russia and the West, the resulting devastation could well be the event that ushers in the 7-year peace plan of the beast. But whatever the case may be, what's going on now is not the running up to Armageddon. In other words, whether or not there is a resulting war, it will not be the Battle of Armageddon. The reason that I say that is because the Battle of Armageddon does begin in the Middle East at or around the time when the Antichrist stands in the third Jewish temple and proclaims himself to be God. But of course, the temple has to be there before this can happen, and although there are plans in the works to get this done as soon as possible, it is still not at this present time. However, we are living in the last days, and that great tribulation period is not too far down the road. Are you ready? Are you saved? If you follow the link in the box below and pray the prayer of salvation with a sincere heart, you will be saved. May God bless you.